Hello, welcome to this video. Thomas Egenes, lesson 11, and we're doing exercise 4 on page 153, which is the monkey and the crocodile. This one is entirely in Devanagari script. I will read it out sentence by sentence and then explain and translate as we go along. So starting with sentence A, Asti Gangayang Kumbhiraha. Asti Gangayang Kumbhiraha. Asti is, or there is. Kumbhira is a crocodile. Now, Gangayam, the Ganga is the Sanskrit for what we call the Ganges, the river Ganges, a feminine noun ending in a long A. And so the locative, you will remember that. You'll see it on page where we did the feminines, the feminine nouns, and Sena, Senayam. Sorry, I've lost it. Anyway, feminine nouns ending in a long A make their locative. Here we are. Page 145. You'll see the full declension of the modal noun Sena, meaning army. If you look down the first column towards the bottom, locative Senayam. So this gives us Gangayam, in the Ganges. So there is in the Ganges a crocodile. Sentence B. Vanarastasya mitram Gangayastate vasati. So Vanara is a monkey. Tasya mitram, his friend. So a monkey, his friend. Gangayah tate. Let me give you iPad. There is more than one word for a river bank. One word is tira. It's actually from the same root tr, meaning to cross, from we get avatara and so on, English avatar. And tira means a river bank, possibly from, you have to be on the bank before you cross the river. The place from which you cross the river is the bank of the river. Another word for a bank, a river bank, is a tatta. They've got two different forms of T in the same word, tatta. In Sanskrit, Devanagari, rather written like that. So here we have Gangayas tate. So tate, locative, on the bank. Gangayas, go back to page 145. Look at the genitive of Sena, Senayaha. Locative Senayam, genitive Senayaha with the Visarga. So this is Gangayastate, the Visarga becoming a sat before the t. Similarly, Vanaraha, Tasya Mitram, the Visarga of Vanaraha, monkey, becomes an S before the t of Tasya. Tasya Mitram, his friend. By the way, the word Vanara monkey, in modern Hindi, bandar, not to be confused with the Persian bandar, which means a port, is in Bandar Abbas. Bandar, modern Hindi for monkey, it's from the Sanskrit Vanara. And Vanara is actually ultimately derived from Vana. Vana meaning a forest. So the Vanara was a forest dweller, rather like the Malay orang utan. Orang man, utan forest. So orang utan, man of the forest. So the forest dweller, the monkey. Vanarastasya mitram, the monkey, a monkey, his friend. Gangayastate vasati. Vasati, the root vas, means to live or to dwell. Distinguish well between root jiv, jivati and vasati. The root jiv has more the sense of to be alive as opposed to being dead. Vasati has more the sense of living in where you dwell or reside, a bit like the difference between the French vivre and habiter. Vivre, you're alive, you're not dead. Habiter is where you live, where your residence is. Note also this word mitram is actually, although it means friend, it is a neuter noun. So even whatever sex the friend is makes no difference. It's a neuter noun and is treated as a neuter noun in Sanskrit. In Pali, you'll very often find that it's treated as a masculine noun. In Sanskrit, let me just call up. I think it can occasionally be used as a neuter noun. Sorry, as a masculine noun in Sanskrit. Just trying to double check with Monia Williams. Where have I lost him? Come on. I do advise you to get very familiar with using Monia Williams's online Sanskrit dictionary. And I'm just going to type in Mitra. Mitra, and exactly that word, so search. Okay. Right, Mitra, in the later language, mostly neuter. That's interesting. Okay, then, so in earlier times, then, Vedic, it was treated as a masculine noun. In the later language, mostly neuter. There we are. So optionally masculine or neuter. I think it's more common in classical Sanskrit to see it used as a neuter noun. Back to iPad. Where are we? There we are. Sentence C. Pratidinam vanara pakwani palani nikshipati. So dina means a day. Pratidinam, every day. Vanara, the monkey. Pakwani palani, ripe fruits. Nikshipati, throws down. So the root kship means to throw. It's a class 6 verb. You would expect, if it were a class 1 verb, which it's not, you would expect, or if it were a class 1, you would find the present tense in kshepati. Sorry, I haven't written that well. Kshepati, he throws. But that's wrong, it's not that. It's class 6. There's no guna of the root, so not kshepati, but kshipati. The reason was that the accent became less and less important as the centuries wore on, but in Vedic, accent and intonation were much more important. And back in Vedic times, it had its stress on the a of the ending, the ati ending. And that's why the first syllable, being unstressed, did not take guna, so it's kshipati, and that accounts for the non-guna. Class 1 verbs are much more numerous than class 6, but remember this class 6, that explains the lack of the guna. And the paradigm verb for class 6 is normally tud, meaning to hit or to strike, and that makes not tudati, but tudati. If you want to write the accent in, which we normally don't in classical Sanskrit, you write it as tudati. Don't worry about the accents too much. If we were studying Vedic, you would have to study in classical Sanskrit. Just note them, but it's not particularly important, not very important for understanding. So pratidinam vanara pakwani palani nikshipati. So kshipati throws, nikshipati throws down. Remember the prefix, verbal prefix ni means either in or down. All right, readjusting my screen. Here we are. And pakwani palani, remember pala, neuter noun, palam, plural, palani, fruits, and pakwani, palani, ripe fruits. This word pakwa, it's from the root pak, meaning means to cook, cognate with our English word bake, but also meaning to ripen. We have the karma vipaka, literally the ripening out of karma, or just the ripening out of karma. Look at this, karma vipaka. Exactly the same in Pali. Hang on. Except, of course, in Pali it is kamma vipaka, which we very frequently encounter, the ripening of your kamma. Pak is unique, I think unique, in making its past participle cooked, baked, ripened, ripe, in an unusual way. It's not pakta, but pakwa, pakwa, which therefore means ripe. And I'm not absolutely sure whether it's the only one, but it's certainly the only common one that makes its past participial form in a va rather than a ta, which is unusual. There may be others, but this is the only common one that I know. And it's from this pakwa, as in pakwani palani, ripe fruits, that of course we get the modern Hindi pakka, meaning correct or proper, good, right. That's Hindi. Now, D. Kumbhira palani kadati. The crocodile, the fruits eat. So the crocodile eats the fruits. There's the root kad, to eat, possibly cognate with our English word chew. And of course, we see it in modern Hindi, khana, to eat. Remember the ending na is the infinitive ending in modern Hindi. All infinitives in Hindi end in a na. So it's from that same Sanskrit ka, make the infinitive khana. Sentence E. Vanarasya hridayam mishtamastiti kumbhirasya bharya vadati. Now this is Madam Crocodile thinking that the monkey's heart might be rather sweet to eat. So the Vanarasya Hridayam, the monkey's heart. The Hridaya, which of course cognate with our English word heart. And from the Latin cordis, is from that same English word cordial greetings, greetings from the heart. It also has a shorter form, just hrid, which you will find used more commonly in suffixes. So, for example, suhrid, a good heart, literally good heart. Suhrid is another word for a friend, somebody who is good-hearted towards you, is your suhrid. Of course, in the nominative, on its own, by sandhi, the word standing on its own becomes suhrit, but it's the same word. So hrit, normally found at the end of a compound. When the word is used independently as a freestanding word, you will more often, not exclusively, but more often find hridayam, a neuter noun. So vanarasya hridayam, the monkey's heart. Mishta, not a particularly common word. Mishta just means a sweet. How does Egenes translate it? Mishta, yes, okay, sweet. So Vanarasya hridayam mishtam asti iti kumbhirasya bharya vadati. So mushtam astiti. The monkey's heart is sweet. Iti, unquote, the crocodile's wife says. So Vanarasya hridayam mishtam astiti kumbhirasya bharya vadati. Sentence F. Bharya hridayam khaditum ichhati. So the bharya, the wife, ichhati, wants. So ichhati, very common verb, ichhati. It's preceded by what you can take the infinitive, wants to eat, much as we say in English. So from card, from the root card, we get the infinitive with our standard infinitive ending tum, and tum is sometimes added directly to the root, but often with that inserted vowel e, often put there for euphonic purposes. So the tum, itum, you treat that as the same, exactly the same infinitive ending, but sometimes, not always, with the link vowel e. Let's look at a couple of other verbs. For example, gum, that doesn't have a link vowel. It becomes, and the m changes to a n before the t. So gantum, gum, gantum. So bharya hridayam khaditum ichhati. The wife wants to eat the heart. Now, the crocodile is put in a bit of a dilemma here. He doesn't want to annoy his wife by not fetching the monkey's heart to her. Equally, the monkey is his friend, so he wishes no harm upon the monkey. So he has this clever ruse. He knows the monkey will be clever about it, I think. So he says, "Oh, Vanara! Hey, monkey!" Note the Vanara in sentence G, just the pure stem form, Vanara. That's the standard vocative for nouns ending in a short ah. Oh, Vanara! Hey, Vanara! Mama griham agacha. You see here, agacheti. That's agacha iti. That's the imperative, agacha. So you know from the root gum, he goes, he, she, it goes, gachati. The imperative of these class 1 verbs is typically formed in the simplest way as just gacha. For example, bhavati. Imperative singular, this is imperative singular, is just bhava. So, and agacha means come. So, mama griham, accusative of motion, come to my house. Come to the house would be griham agacha. Come to my house, mama griham agacha. And iti, end of quote, thus joins by sandhi in the normal way to the preceding preceding word. So agacha iti is agacheti. So ahovanara, mama griham agacheti, kumbhiro vanaram vadati. The crocodile to the monkey says. Remember, in English we say to speak to somebody, to say something to somebody. In Sanskrit and Pali, this vad to say, it takes a direct accusative. That's why we have vanaram here, kumbhiro vanaram vadati. The crocodile says to the monkey. Sentence H, I'll say it without sandhi. Evam astu iti vanaro vadati. So if you look at this first word in Devanagari, I'll write it in transliteration first. I'll separate the words. No, so I'll separate the words and write it without sandhi. Now, this is an imperative form in the third person. Now you can't, and so it has the idea of let it be. So asti, it is, astu, may it be. So evam astu, thus may it be. Evam astu, which is a polite way of saying, yes, I'll do that, just yes, in response to being asked to do something. Evam astu, thus may it be. Iti vanaro vadati. So it's written, I'll do it in transliteration here, in Devanagari. Now, we've got the U here, followed by an E. So by Santi, the U becomes a V. That's why you see in the Devanagari, Evamastuviti, Evamastuviti. And this is a useful grammatical rule to remember. It's a very simple one. It operates pretty much foolproof for the third person, singular and plural, parasmaipada, to turn an ordinary indicative, something is so, into like an imperative with the sense of may it be so. For example, may all beings be happy. Sarve sattvaha sukhita bhavantu. Now, if you were just saying if you put that in the indicative, sarve sattvaha sukhita bhavanti, that would be an absurdly incorrect statement. It would mean all beings are happy. But change it into an imperative, sarve sattva sukhita bhavantu, may all beings be happy. You'll see this very often, this third person subjunctive form. So, sentence I, tasya prishte kumbhiro vanaram vahati. The word prishtha means back, as in somebody's back here, the crocodile's back. Incidentally, you see this in Persian, pushed back, and you see it in Latin, post, meaning afterwards, on the back of something, at the back of something, behind something. The word post, postscript, post-mortem, something done after something else. In Pali, it becomes putta. So tasya prishte, locative here, on his back, kumbhiro, the crocodile, vanaram vahati, carries, conveys. Remember this root vah, to carry or convey. It comes into English via Latin as a vehicle. We also, for example, have it's the same root as in our word wagon, and indeed the same root as our word way. So convey, vehicle, wagon, way, all from this primitive sense of carrying something. So tasya prishte kumbhiro vanaram vahati. On his back, the crocodile carries or conveys the monkey. Sentence J. Gangaya madhye kumbhiro satyam vadati. Here we have the genitive again, Gangayaha with visarga, but because of the following voiced consonant, the visarga drops. Madhye, madhya, middle, cognate with our Latin medium. In Pali, now let's make an adjective out of that. So if something is central or middle, you talk about madhyama. Madhya is the middle, the center part of the noun. Madhyama is an adjective being in the middle. In Pali, madhyama becomes majjhima. And you will recognize that word from the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length sayings. That's where the root is from. So medium length, Majjhima, medium length. So Gangaya Madhye, in the middle of the Ganges, Kumbhira Satyam Vadati. The crocodile tells the truth. So he gives them, so he's trying to, do what his wife says on the one hand, but on the other hand, so his wife hopefully can see him bringing the monkey, but can't hear what he's saying to the monkey. So the monkey says, I imagine he's saying in quite a loud voice, so Madam Crocodile can hear as well. Mama hridyam vrikshe bhavati vanaro bhashate. Mama hridayam vrikshe bhavati iti vanaro bhashate. So, mama hridayam, my heart, vrikshe. Vriksha is a tree. And that's in Pali, that becomes rukka. So we have in Pali, rukhamulani, the roots of trees. The Buddha was exhorting his disciples not to be lazy about meditating. There are the roots of trees, go and sit. By the way, we'd talk about sitting at the foot of a tree. In Pali and Sanskrit, you talk about sitting at the root of the tree. So, Attarukhamulani Siddhata, said the Buddha. There are the roots of trees. Sit, Siddhata. So, Vrikshe locative, Mama Hridayam Vrikshe Bhavati Iti. By Santi Bhavatiti. So, my heart is in the tree. Vanaro Bhashate. The root Bhash, to speak, it's normally an Atmanepada, so Bhashate, Bhashate. We'd say he says, but you're allowed to say he speaks. Those are the words he utters. Mama hridyam vrikshe bhavatiti vanaro bhashate. My heart is in the tree, the monkey says. And sentence I. Punar mam tatra nayeti vanaro bhashate. And without sandhi, punar mam tatra naya. Iti vanaro bhashate. Naya, from the root to lead, ni, and it makes the nayati. So imperative is simply naya, lead me, take me. So punar again, mam, me, tatra, there, thither, naya, iti, lead, unquote, vanaro bhashate. By the way, the vinaya, ni can make a verbal noun, also not just the imperative, the verbal noun, nane, naya. The vinaya, that's the code of monastic discipline, the separative particle meaning away here, leading away, because it's that which leads you away from improper conduct, was the original meaning of it. The leading away from what is wrong towards what is right. Another word for another verbal noun is niti, and that tends to have the meaning of governing, government, literally leading. And we have Shastra, which in older Sanskrit, the Shastra, from the root shas, meaning to teach. Shastra were the teaching materials, Shastra, teaching materials, teaching implements, which were essentially the commentaries on the Vedas, the commentaries that were used by, I've written Shastra, the commentaries on the Vedas. In later language, it came just to mean any form of teaching, and in modern times, even in Sanskrit times, it is the science of something. So Niti Shastra is the modern word for politics, the science of government. Niti Shastra, just as you have the word Artha, which among other things means wealth. Artha Shastra. wealth science, which in modern Hindi, Arthashastra, is the modern Hindi word for economics, the science of wealth. So punarvam tatra naya iti vanaro bhashate. With Sandhi punarman tatra nayeti vanaro bhashate. So the monkey pretending that he's going to go along with his friend the crocodile's wife's wishes, says, "Oh, take me back, there, lead me back there." So sentence M, kumbhiro vanaram gangayastratam nayati. Now gangayastratam, it's the accusative here because it's the accusative of motion. He is leading nayati. He's leading or carrying, taking the monkey back to the tatam, to the bank, to the Gangayas tatam nayati, taking him back to the bank of the Ganges. So kumbhiro vanarang Gangayas tatam nayati. The crocodile literally leads the monkey to the bank of the Ganges. Sentence N. Vanaro vriksham uchalati. So uchalati, it's from the root shall, not a particularly common root. Here we are in Monia Williams. I'll call him up for you. Roots the shall. Most common meaning is to go or to move, but only found in compounds. Compare uchal, prochal, which is pra uchalati, samuchal, and the so uchal, fly upwards, spring upwards. So ut, you by santi, wherever you get to t, followed by sh, by santi it mutates to a double ch, double aspirated. So that's how you get uchalati. So Vanaro vriksham, and takes an accusative of motion, jumps up to the tree. Vanaro vriksham uchalati. So the monkey jumps up to the tree, or jumps up into the tree. Uchalati, uchalati. Sentence P. Kashchin mama hridayam chorayati smeti vanaro vadati. So kashchit would be kashchit mama. The word for who, sorry, iPad, iPad. Here we go. The word for who is ka. In fact, cognate with our English word who and the Latin quis and the French qui and the Spanish quien. Ka. You can change that to an indefinite pronoun like someone. We don't know who someone becomes ka plus chit. So by Santi, that becomes kashchit. Kashchit, someone. By the way, when you're declining this word, the chit doesn't change, but the kash does. So by someone, you put the instrumental kena chit, by somebody. And in somebody would be kasminschit. But the most common form is the kashchit, meaning somebody. Now, kashchit, you see kashchin mama, so kashchit plus mama, the t becomes a n by santi before the following m. So kashchin mama hridayam chorayati sma iti. Somebody has stolen my heart. Sorry, I forgot sentence O, apologies. Vanaro vrikshasya bile pashyati. Vanaro the monkey. The bila means a hole or a hollow. Pashyati, he sees, he looks. Vrikshasya bile, in a hollow of the tree. So the monkey looks into the hollow of a tree. Vanaro vrikshasya bile pashyati. Then he exclaims, Kashin mama hridayam churayati smeti vanaro vadati. So it's the churayati sma. Now, within this course, the Egenes, we have so far not yet done any of the past tenses. There is a clever device to evade that. If you use the present tense plus sma, this indeclinable particle sma turns a present tense into a past. It's found very frequently, much more frequently. I don't think you find it in Vedic, but you find it more and more frequently in later Sanskrit, at simplified matters. You find it very frequently in the Buddhist scriptures. So, ekasmin samaye, at one time, the Buddho, at such and such a place, viharati, is dwelling, viharati sma, was dwelling. So that's what's happened here. It's this very common verbal particle that turns the present tense into a past tense. So chorayati, chora is a thief. Chorayati, this is a verb made from the noun chora, chorayati. So chorayati sma, has stolen. So kashchin mama hridayam chorayati sma iti vanaro vadati. And this sma plus iti, of course, by santi has to become smeti. So chorayati smeti vanaro vadati. And finally, sentence Q. Evam kumbhiro vanarascha mitre tishtata. Evam, thus, in that way, kumbhiro vanarascha, the crocodile and the monkey, remain friends. Now, this expression, remain friends, mitre tishtata. Right. Remember, this a ending here is not the locative singular. It is the dual form, nominative dual for neuter nouns. So, for example, vana, a forest, a neuter noun, vanam. If you see vane, it can be either the locative singular, vane, or it can be the nominative accusative dual, two forests, vane. You just have to determine from the context which one it is. So mitre, they stand. Tishtata is the third person. Third person dual with the standing ending ta. So they remain friends, and you've got to use the dual here because there are only two of them. You wouldn't say if there were more than two, three plus, it would be mitrani tishtanti. Let me put it in the plural for you. Mitrani tishtanta. Sorry, tishtanti. This is, as we know, the from the root sta, to stand, and that word very frequently has the meaning of to stand in the sense of to remain, to stay. In fact, our English word stay is from that same root, to stand and to stand there, to remain there, not to move, to stay. So they stay friends. So mitre tishtatah. So evam kumbhiro vanarascha mitre tishtatah. So I'll just read the story through to you, and try if you can to follow it, either just listening or just following it in the Devanagari. Asti Gangayang Kumbhiraha Vanarastasya Mitrang Gangaya Starte Vasati. Sorry, I've lost my ruler to mark the line. Oops. Pratidinam Vanara Pakwani Palani Nikshipati Kumbhira Palani Khadati Vanarasya Hridayam Mishtamastiti Kumbhirasya Bharya Vadati Bharya Hridayam Khaditumichhati Aho Vanara Mama Grihamaagacheti Kumbhiro Vanaram Vadati Evamastuiti Vanaro Vadati Tasya Prishte Kumbhiro Vanaram Vahati Gangaya Madhye Kumbhira Satyam Vadati Mama Hridayam Vrikshe Bhavatiti Vanaro Bhashate Punarmam Tatra Nayeti Vanaro Bhashate Kumbhiro Vanaram Gangaya Startang Nayati Vanaro Vrikshamuchalati Vanaro Vrikshasya Bile Pashyati Kaschin Mama Hridayam Chorayati Smeti Vanaro Vadati Evam Kumbhiro Vanarascha Mitre Tishtata. And that concludes The Monkey and the Crocodile.